Today I'm entering a controversial topic, and that is, which TV show is better, Parks and Recreation or The Office? So I have now officially watched both Parks and Recreation and The Office. I finished The Office, I think, last week, while on Parks and Rec, on the other hand, I've watched that show 2 times now. If you haven't heard of these shows before, you're living under a rock because these shows are everywhere. Parks and Rec follows a Parks and Rec department in a fictional town called Pawnee, and it's in Indiana, while The Office is about an office that's called Dunder Mifflin that takes place in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm one of those people who believes in the theory that if you watch, for example, The Office first and then Parks and Rec, you're gonna think The Office is the best. But if you watch Parks and Rec first and then The Office, then you're gonna think Parks and Rec is the best. And that's what happened to me. I watched Parks and Rec first and then I watched The Office, but I still think Parks and Rec is better. The reason why I love Parks and Rec is that there's a story behind it. So I'm gonna tell you all the story about my little Parks and Rec journey. So I actually watched the show because Christine from Plum Bananas Books watched the show, and I knew she did. And back at that point in my life, in February of 2015, I really just wanted to be like her, and I knew she loved the show, so I was like, I'm gonna watch this because Christine watches it. So I watched it, and I actually really liked it. I liked it more than I thought, but it was more like, hey, I've now watched Parks and Rec, I'm so much like Christine, that's awesome. A year later comes around, and the final season of Parks and Rec finally comes on Netflix, and I'm really, really excited. But the problem is that at this point in my life, I am slowly entering what will be the darkest period of my lifetime. I was very depressed and alone, and there were not a lot of things in that period of my life that made me happy. But the final season came on Netflix, and I just remember watching it, and I remembered how much I actually loved the show, not because Christine watched it, but because these characters felt so real. And the last season's actually not my favorite, but I still love it because it was one of the very few things during that time in my life that made me happy. Leslie Knope and her department just bring such happiness to my life, and every time I watch an episode now, I'm just like filled with joy because it's just so comforting. Like when I watch it, it's kind of like returning home because it's just full of joy and happiness, and it just makes me feel so good. If I hadn't watched the show, then I feel like I could still be in a really bad place because that was one of the very few things that gave me joy, and it made me happy even when I thought I couldn't be happy. And then there's The Office, which I have been watching for the past 2 months, I would say, and this show has brought me a lot of joy too. At first, I wasn't going to watch The Office because I'd already watched Parks and Rec, and I was like, this show cannot beat Parks and Rec. Like, I was very dead set that Parks and Rec was the best show, and I just wouldn't listen to anyone who was like, oh, The Office is actually really good though, and it's better. I was like, haha, no, Parks and Rec for the win. But one day, my sister came home from college, and she started rewatching the show, and I watched an episode with her, and then before I knew it, I'd watched 5 episodes with her. So then I decided that I was gonna watch The Office, and I can't tell you how fast I blew by this show. I was legit 2 seasons ahead of my sister watching this because I just played at those episodes like it was crack. What I love most about the show is just how these people who have been working together for 9 years and sit at the same desk every day just become a family, because most of them are going through the same hardships and struggles, but they're going through it together, and they have someone to lean on in the office, and people fall in love, and they just, it's beautiful. I loved the family feeling to it. And that's why it was so sad for when Michael left. It was so upsetting to me because it's like he's almost the father of The Office, and just to see him go, it was really, really sad, and I really didn't want him to leave, even though I knew he was. They just become a family, and that's why I love the last episode, because you just see them all. It's like a family reunion almost. They're all reunited. They do that documentary thing, and it was just like, so good. So the reason why The Office isn't as good as Parks and Rec, or why I'm not choosing it over Parks and Rec, is because when I watched this show, I was in a good place. I'm in a much better place than I was while I was watching Parks and Rec in the final season. Like, those were some really bad times. Well, now I'm really good. I'm doing better, and I'm taking steps towards being in the place I wanted to be in for so long. And yeah, The Office has brought up my mood and made me happy, but Parks and Rec seriously brought me out of some really dark times. I will always appreciate these shows for its characters and its humor and its moral lessons, but Parks and Rec is better because, for me personally, because I just watched it at a time when I needed some light in my life, and Parks and Rec gave that to me. But that, my friends, is my opinion on this controversy. Which TV show is better? Please let me know in the comments down below. Which TV show do you think is better? Because I really do like talking about this with people, and I like to know which one do you like better, and let me know why you like that show better. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'm Courtney, and I'll see y'all next time with a new video soon, so I will see you then. So, bye! Yo!